Hello everyone, today we're going to talk about the three most important things on the network, our IP address, the subnet mask, and our default gateway. I don't know if you've noticed, but whether we're assigning an IP address to our devices or to our computers, these three are always needed, especially on our computers. For example, when we press Windows plus R, if I want to see the IP address situation on my computer, we can do it this way and it will appear in the lower left corner. Type CCMD in the box and click Confirm, Dinky, and a command prompt will pop up. Usually when we interact with the computer, it's all graphical. We just click a bit and it's done. Right? But we need to know that many network devices in the computer actually operate through code and commands. So, if we want to check some conditions on the computer, we can use ipconfig and it will show the current network adapter on your computer and various configurations. In this process, we can see that my computer has an IP address and a subnet mask. The IP address and subnet mask are shown, but besides these, there is also something called the default gateway. Of course, the computer's configuration, like the IP address, is not something I set myself. It is automatically obtained through DHCP in our network. The IP address can be obtained automatically or configured manually. But why do we need these three parameters? Today, let's talk about it. First, the IP address. If our device doesn't have an IP address, it cannot perform any communication. As for the subnet mask, why do we need a subnet mask? The subnet mask is used to define whether devices are on the same network segment. And why does it matter if they are on the same network segment? If devices are on the same network segment, they can communicate directly. If they are on different network segments, we need a gateway. For example, if we're in a room and I say, I'm a bit thirsty, after talking, what can I do? I can pick up some water and drink it. But if I look around and see there's no water in the room, what should I do? I would need to go out the door to another room, right? It's the same in our network. Initially, it checks if we are on the same network segment. If not, it hopes to find a way. By using a gateway, which is like a door, I can go to another network segment and communicate. This means you need to ensure one thing. If I can't even find the door in this room, there's no way I can go out through it. So our computer and our gateway need to be on the same network segment. How do we determine this? By using a subnet mask. For example, during this process, if I see two addresses in the future, one being 192.168, 1.11, and the other being 192.168.2.10. So how do I determine this? Although in this process, I need to rely on the subnet mask, for example. If the subnet mask is 255.255.255.0, it clearly doesn't tell us whether it is or isn't. So what do? We need to compare the subnet mask with the IP address. For instance, in this process, our subnet mask is here, 3245.0, so we check how many 245s to find how many leading bits of the IP address to consider. With 3 255s, I check the first three segments of the IP address. The first three segments are 192.81, and the first three segments are 192.168.2. This means I check how many 255s, and then see if the leading segments are the same. If they are the same, it's the same network segment. If not, it's not the same network segment. We can determine it. In the future, if I have something to do and need to go to another network segment, I need to find a gateway. The so-called gateway is actually an address configured on our device, specifically on the interface of our device. For example, we usually use the interface of a router or a layer 3 switch to act as our gateway. So in this context, I can let my device say PC1 in the future. Its gateway is 192.181.1, and if during this process, the address of the PC itself is 192.18.1.10, in this process, if in the future he wants to find this PCR, well, the PCR is a 192.168.1.11. At this point, I will directly forward it, I will directly look for it without needing to go through my gateway. However, if I want to access the external network now, I need to go out through our gateway. This is the function of our gateway, or IP address and subnet mask. If you want to learn more about network technology, or if you want to know more about Huawei certification-related knowledge, or if you want to understand Huawei resources, you can send me a private message or leave a comment below the video.